History has a way of cycling back on itself, offering us the same lessons in different guises until we learn what must be learned. Let's take for a moment to reflect on the story of the Pilgrims. Why did they leave Europe? Why did they risk everything to cross a perilous ocean to an unknown land? They believed they were being persecuted. They believed the systems of the old world could no longer support their freedom to live, think, and worship as they felt guided. Centuries later, America declared independence from England, breaking free from a monarchy to create something radically new. Why? Again, the systems had become oppressive, constrictive. A constitution was born, an experiment in governance founded on the ideal that all men are created equal, endowed with inalienable rights. They were bold, revolutionary acts. But here we are in 2025, and history is once again knocking on the door. It seems the systems we've built, political, social, and economic, are buckling under their own weight. Division, conflict, and dysfunction dominate the headlines. The same cries for freedom and change echo across the centuries. So the question arises, what now? Where do we go when there are no new continents left to explore? For thousands of years, when societies reached their breaking points, they looked outward. The Pilgrims sailed to the New World. Revolutionaries built new governments. Pioneers moved westward. Even today, figures like Elon Musk dream of outer space as humanity's next frontier. But what if this time, the solution isn't out there? What if it is in here? As a Course in Miracles practitioner, one of its most fundamental teachings is that the world we see is a reflection of our inner state. Change the inner landscape, and the outer world must shift to match it. In chaos theory, there's a similar principle. When an organism reaches the limits of its current state, it can no longer rely on old patterns to survive. It must dissolve and reorganize into something new. Humanity is at this transformational crossroads. The systems we've relied on are failing, not because they're inherently evil, but because they've run their course. They've reached their limits. And no logistical solution, no political candidate, no economic reform, no technological breakthrough will solve the deeper problem. What's required now is a complete reorganization of our consciousness. This is why the only frontier left is inner space. I know this sounds radical. It's much easier to point fingers, to blame politicians, media outlets, or corporate greed. But the truth is, we can't change the world by fighting it. We can only change it by shifting our perception of it. As Einstein famously said, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. Elon Musk envisions humanity colonizing Mars, and while I respect his vision, I believe it's a reflection of the upside-down nature of our thinking. The true colonization must happen inward. Inner space is the untouched frontier, the vast unknown within us, waiting to be explored, understood, and healed. Listen, folks, this isn't about Pollyannism. This isn't about denying the reality of the world's challenges. It's about understanding that the only way to truly transform the world is to transform ourselves. We've tried changing governments, economies, and technologies. Now, it's time to change the one thing we've been avoiding: our own perception. History doesn't have to repeat itself. We don't have to search for new continents or build new governments to escape what isn't working. The opportunity before us is far greater than that. This is the moment to dissolve the old patterns and reorganize into something completely, entirely new. not as nations, but as individuals. The caterpillar doesn't know what it's becoming when it enters the cocoon. It only knows it can't stay the same, and neither can we. So let's embrace this moment, let's stop looking outward for solutions, and let's start exploring the infinite potential within. Let's make inner space our new frontier.